It is Kieran Trippier. It is delicious! Glorious! Glorious!
Walker in there too. Luke Shaw! Harry Kane wants it played into him. He chooses Grealish instead. It's Grealish! It's Kane! I think like this has happened for a long time. Here's the overhead kick from Kane! Palmer finds Watkins. Watkins turns! Watkins scores!
Hello, and welcome to the Gate 102 podcast. I hope I find you well. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my latest episode, which was me talking about that great win against Sweden that sent England to their first World Cup semi-final in 28 years. That episode is still available wherever you get your podcasts, as are all the other games I've talked about so far. And today, I'll be talking about that semi-final as England faced Croatia. And just doing a bit of research, this was the first time England played Croatia since September 2009 when we won 5-1 at Wembley Stadium. I'll start how I always start, and that's with the team. And once again, it was an unchanged lineup. Pickford in goal, back three of Walker, Stones, Maguire, wing-backs with Trippier and Young. It was then a midfield three of Henderson, Ali and Lingard. And then a front two of Kane and Sterling. And I mentioned this in the Tunisia game, that the team for the Croatia game is the same. But it showed that there was a consistency, and the team that Southgate had prepared for and thought would work on day one did work, and it's still the same team in the semi-final. So obviously there's been some changes along the way, but overall it goes to show that Southgate's plan going into the tournament had clearly been a success. But moving on to the game itself and the events that happened, I felt it was like a game of two halves, really. For getting extra time, just in the 90 minutes, it was probably a game of two halves. But, I mean, what a start from England, a dream start. Dele Alli was brought down outside the box, and meant England had a free kick. And given how good England were from set pieces, it was such a great opportunity. And it was Kieran Trippier who buried home, getting it over the wall. Absolute fantastic strike, and you've already heard the commentary for this goal as it's the start of my intro, but what a glorious, glorious moment it was. And I remember jumping around, diving on the sofa, just a beautiful moment that spread joy all throughout the nation. It was the perfect start, and there was a really noticeable opportunity for England to double the lead half an hour into the game. Harry Kane was through in goal, had a shot which was well saved by the goalkeeper, and then he hit the post on the rebound, and he was really close and so unlucky not to score. And there are some people to this day who say he should have squared it to Sterling, but given the amount of goals Kane has scored that tournament, you can't blame him for trying to score. I mean, he could have passed it to Sterling, but I think he did the right thing trying to go for a goal. But it was a really encouraging first half from England, and I remember thinking at half time, like 45 minutes to go, just 45 minutes to go, we can do it. We can get to the final here. But obviously it's never that easy watching England, is it? And we tend to make it hard for ourselves. And as much as it was great that we were in front, it made it difficult for us. It meant Croatia were then forced to attack more. England started to lose control a bit, defensively lacking, didn't look after the ball well enough. The wing-backs were dropping deeper and deeper. And yeah, it just came very sloppy, and that resulted in what felt like the inevitable at the time. And yeah, Croatia equalised through Ivan Perisic, and it was 1-1. And yeah, this is really disappointing, obviously, but there's one thing I really want to point out, and I bang this drum every time I talk about this game, and this is something you'll hear me say a lot. I think criticism of Southgate is that he likes to drop deep, he likes to sit back and put the handbrake on. And I just find it the most ludicrous claim ever, really, because Croatia were one of the best teams in the tournament. They had a very good squad, including Modric, Perisic, Rakitic, whereas England had a lot younger and inexperienced squad. Croatia were always going to come at us, and And that's why England were sort of on the back foot a bit. Nothing to do with Southgate's tactics, but because of the difference in quality of the teams and also the age category. And it was always going to go that way. Croatia were always going to have a spell and put pressure on our defence. It was always going to happen. So that's why I never really understand when people blame Southgate for that, because I just don't think it was his fault. It was just the nature of the game, and England managed to hang on for the rest of the second half, and it went to extra time, and the game finished 1-1. And Croatia were the better team in the second half, so I wasn't too confident going into extra time, to be honest. But there was still hope. And England had a really good chance towards the start of extra time. John Stones it was, who had a header from a corner that was cleared off the line. So close, but yeah, just not close enough. And that would have been Stones' third goal of the tournament if it had gone in, which for a centre-back is incredible, really. But yeah, that was a really good opportunity, and you felt that England weren't really going to get a better chance in what was left of extra time. But likewise, Croatia had loads of chances. Jordan Pickford was England's saviour once again. So many incredible saves, coming big in the big moments. But to be honest, Croatia were on top, and you just felt if there was going to be a team that were going to score, it was going to be Croatia. And yeah, Mandzukic it was who fired home to score what turned out to be the winning goal with 11 minutes left to play. And yeah, it was a moment that hurt at the time, and it still hurts now. And I haven't watched this game back many times because I don't particularly enjoy watching it back, but obviously I had to watch it back for this game, and yeah, still hurts just watching it back 7 years later. But yeah, just so unfortunate, but a great strike. And I just think England just ran out of steam. And just after Croatia scored to make it 2-1, Kieran Trippier went off injured, and we'd used all our subs, meaning England had to play the last few minutes with 10 men. When you're losing an extra time, it's sort of like, that's when you knew the game's done, really. And it was Croatia who went on to reach the final. But yeah, I think what was so telling was the reaction from the England fans at the end. Obviously, everyone was disappointed and hurt, but the way Southgate and the players had conducted themselves was incredible, and it was just so great to see a team actually believe. Because I think a lot of England managers and players over the years have talked about belief, but I feel they haven't actually believed when they've said that. And you could tell that Southgate and the players did actually believe, and they had brought people together throughout the nation and restored pride and enjoyment in watching England. So yeah, and cast your mind back to 2 years prior to this, it was Euro 2016, and the difference in sort of feeling losing to Croatia compared to losing to Iceland was just massive. And I remember being upset after the game, sort of in my room crying, 10 years old, so one of my first tournaments. And I remember my dad coming in and just saying to me, "We'll get there again." And what he meant by that was that you'll see England have another great tournament in the future. But he also expressed how it might take decades until that happens. But so I think there was a school of thought that this would have been a one-off tournament and as good as it got for England. But in reality, it was just the start. It was just the beginning of this new England, this Southgate-driven era. And yeah, overall, the tournament was a massive success. No one would have expected a semi-final. I think a lot of us were just hoping to win one knockout game, myself included, but I think we definitely exceeded expectations. But yeah, it was such a special summer. But England didn't go home after this, as they still had one more game to play. This was a third place playoff against Belgium. Obviously, England had already played against Belgium in the group stage, but they lost to France in their semi-final, meaning the two teams would face each other again in a third place playoff. And that's what I'll be talking about in my next episode. So that concludes today. Thank you for listening. As always, really appreciated. And yeah, until next time, take care of yourselves. I'll see you soon.